Welcome to the Mount Panorama Grand Prix, one of, if not the most thrilling Grand Prix of the 2024 season. Drivers here need to be cautious of their speed and their position, as the track is very narrow in some points and the downhill turns after the top of the hill are very fast and dangerous. But winning here brings a lot of prestige and popularity.
That's true, Tom. Now that you mentioned it, a lot of people compare Mount Panorama with Monaco in Italy because of how narrow the track is.
That's true, Max. However, the track here has two long straights, long enough to hit maximum top speed. Monaco doesn't have those.
Happy Camping for 115 and Zonu are battling for first place going up the hill. Zonu is attempting to go for the pass. It's getting very dangerous.
Zonu overtakes Happy Camping for 1.5. This is already starting to look like Zonu is applying competitive pressure to the rest of the grid. It's kinda crazy how Zonu Designs came into the scene just 2 years ago as a design company, and now they have a car to compete in.
That's true, Tom. They have been very competitive the past 2 years, winning race after race. They started making designs for Porsche, and now they are looking into developing their own road car.
Zonu and Happy Camping 415 get away from the rest of the pack on the straight. This can be very dangerous at the end of the straight on the left-hander.
Happy Camping for 1.5 is getting really close to Zonu approaching the left-hander.
Oh, he is attempting to overtake and he collides with Zonu and shoots off the track. He has lost his position going down to P4.
Artistic Killer is now P2 and BRK for 2OM is P3 approaching very fast behind Zonu. It's a shame that Happy Camping for 115 shot off the track. It seemed like he was applying a considerable amount of pressure on Zonu. Zonu is leading the pack once again on the first straight.
Artistic Killer and BK are trailing behind Zonu Hungry for P1. You know something, Max? This race is very important this season as the competitors are very close in points. In fact, 2 to 3 points difference, and this race can mean winning the championship or losing it.
That's very true, Tom. This season has been very competitive between all the drivers and all the teams involved this season. Artistic Killer is closing in on Zonu very quickly. They are heading towards the tricky part of the track with Zonu leading the chart skillfully and swiftly carving through the turns.
You can see Artistic Killer trailing behind Zonu with the same finesse for the turns. Not a single mistake can be made here, as it can cost you the race, like it did for Happy Camping for 115. And Zonu successfully makes it out the difficult turns and charges ahead on the long straight with the rest of the pack closely behind.
You know something, Tom? I wouldn't be able to drive a Formula car. I'd crash on turn 1.
I'd be crashing right there with you, Max. Zonu and Artistic Killer diving on the turn, with Artistic Killer overshooting into the turf, losing the ground he had covered. Zonu now has a bigger lead on Artistic Killer and BKR.
Artistic Killer really lost the grip there. Zonu just placed fastest lap at 1 minute 40 for second with 791 milliseconds. Just look at that gap, Tom. Zonu really keeps pushing hard, not letting the pressure break him.
So far, it's looking like Zonu will be the Grand Prix winner today. But let's not talk too soon, as anything can happen here at Mount Panorama. This broadcast is brought to you by 9RRA Zonu Designs product. It's crazy just how big they got after 2 years of joining the Super Formula Series.
You know, Tom, not a lot of teams have their CEO as the driver, and in this case, Zonu is the driver and the owner of the 9RR company. Not a lot of people know, but the number 19 car has a truly moving story as to why they are number 19 and why they named the company Zonu Designs. A true story of picking up the mantle and rising from a difficult time.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Max, but you can see BKR has caught up to Zonu. It's starting to get interesting as BKR is starting to challenge Zonu for pole position.
No worries, Tom. I saw a bit of a struggle there on the exit of the last corner, where Zonu got a bit too close to the wall. Seems he had to brake a little harder there, costing him precious time. You can see Zonu was trying to get into defensive position on that last part of the straight, trying to keep BKR from passing him.
Zonu and BKR are approaching the final turn, and Zonu goes to wide and gets off the track, costing him his position.
What a shame, Tom. Zonu was leading the pack for half of the race, and now he is playing second place behind BKR. It's going to be a tough battle so far. Happy Camping for 115 and Artistic Killer haven't been able to catch up, and this might be the same fate for Zonu.
It's very difficult to tell what will happen the remaining half of the race, Max. Mount Panorama is notorious for being a very unforgiving track. If you mess up on the turns, your opponents will drive into the distance on those straights, and it will be very difficult to catch up again.
You can tell Zonu is pushing his SF19 to the limits to get back to his position, but for how long can he keep that up? There are 2 laps left after this one. Maybe that is enough to reclaim his spot.
Maybe, but BKR has been putting in outstanding performance so far. He has not messed up once this race, which granted him pole position.
From what it looks like, Tom, Zonu has covered some ground here. There might be a chance at redemption. These 2 drivers have been showing out the whole race, putting on an outstanding performance.
Both drivers are now headed down the straight, trying to maximize their top speed. BKR seems to still have the lead, but Zonu has been putting on a good pace, trying to get back into pole position. Both drivers are approaching the left-hander at the end of the straight. That's a tricky left-hander if you don't stop the car at just the right speed, since you maximized your top end during the straight.
Both drivers managed to get through that left-hander without an issue. BKR is still ahead of Zonu, but Zonu is covering ground. And there it is, folks. Zonu placed another fast lap. So far he has the fastest lap, but he's still P2.
Zonu might have a chance here to catch up to BKR. It seems both drivers still have enough overtake to maximize their speed in the straight, and that's what Zonu seems to be doing.
Zonu is going for the overtake. What a move by Zonu. He takes pole position again.
What a daring pass by Zonu. Amazing racecraft. He is showing BRK, who is the dominant, most daring driver in the grid, by performing last-second overtakes.
You know that's what 9RR is all about. It's for the ones who dare, the ones who have nothing to lose, the ones with no fear. For those individuals that have the balls to get the job done, amazing performance.
Both drivers are approaching the downhill curves. BKR is applying pressure on Zonu now because he knows there is one more lap left, and he doesn't want to be behind Zonu when he crosses the finish line.
Zonu coming in a bit hot there, lost a bit of traction out of that corner. He still manages to push ahead, leaving a noticeable gap there between him and BKR.
Both drivers are headed towards the left-hander at incredible speeds. Just when you thought Zonu would join the rest of the pack along with Happy Camping for 115 and Artistic Killer, but no. He managed to stick to the plan and put the power down, and now he is set to begin the final lap in P1.
Zonu approaches the final turn to cross the line and start the final lap of this race.
As both drivers start the final lap, one has to ask themselves, who will brake under pressure? This is the final lap. After all, it's all down to the wire now. All or nothing. And Zonu leads the final charge, taking turn 1 successfully. BKR is right behind him. BKR knows if he doesn't take Zonu here in the straight, he might now have the chance to do so later on the track, and it's the final lap.
BKR just put down the fastest lap in the race so far. I wonder if Zonu can top that on this final lap.
So far, Zonu seems to be taking a good lead on BKR, but anything can happen here on this track.
I just want to highlight that all drivers did a good job. Nobody quit the race and went back to the lobby. Happy Camping for 1-5 and Artistic Killer both stuck to their duty and both continued to race even though they lost the chance to contend first place. That behavior is commendable. Very good sportsmanship by both of those drivers.
Zonu and BKR are about to exit the very dangerous downhill curves with a lot of finesse and are heading for the final long straight.
Both drivers still have enough overtake left to speed down the straight. This final part of the race is getting very exciting. You can tell BKR wants his position back, and Zonu will absolutely not allow that to happen.
BKR shoots at the left-hander and gets very close to Zonu. This race might have a close finish. Zonu seemed to have applied the brakes a little too early on that left-hander, and they both are approaching the final turn with just milliseconds separating them from victory.
And it's Zonu that takes the victory. Fantastic performance by Zonu and the Zonu Designs team. The 9RR car wins the Mount Panorama Grand Prix.
Truly amazing performance there by Zonu and BKR. Both drivers gave us a spectacular performance today. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you on the next Grand Prix.